watching the WKRG News 5 Hurricane Special.
Good evening and welcome to the WKRG News 5 Hurricane Special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ed Bloodsworth. It is expected to be another very busy hurricane season. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicts 14 to 21 named storms, with 6 to 10 of those becoming hurricanes and 3 to 6 of those becoming major hurricanes. Let's first look back to 2021. It was another destructive season with 21 named storms, and just like the 6 seasons prior, it got off to an early start. Subtropical storm Ana formed 10 days prior to the official start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Although it never affected land, it would set the stage for an exceptionally busy June. 4 more storms formed prior to July 4th. This is the most active first 6 weeks of the season on record.
Waves cresting at 7 to 11 feet.
Among the storms was Tropical Storm Claudette, the first storm to impact the Gulf Coast in 2021.
Our wind gusts hit up to 60 miles per hour.
Although Claudette made landfall in southwest Louisiana, most of the impacts were felt across Alabama and Mississippi. A 2 to 4 foot storm surge was observed as far east as the Florida Panhandle. The storm spawned at least 9 tornadoes, including an EF2 twister that caused significant damage from East Bruton, Alabama, north to Castleberry. 14 deaths were blamed on Claudette. Elsa, the first hurricane of the season, brought flooding rains and strong winds to the Florida Peninsula. The storm would go on to produce 18 tornadoes from Florida to New England, including this one in Jacksonville. Elsa would account for over a dozen fatalities in the Caribbean and the U.S. The most impactful storm of 2021 was Hurricane Ida. The Category 4 storm roared ashore on the southeast Louisiana coast on August 29th with 150-mile-per-hour winds. A ferocious storm surge inundated the Gulf Coast, flooding numerous communities. Ida spread its flooding rains into the northeast, causing record-breaking flooding. In all, 55 deaths would be directly tied to Ida. Damages exceeded $75 billion, making Ida the 5th costliest storm on record. 12 more storms formed after Ida, bringing the total count to 21. 2021 would go down as the 3rd most active hurricane season on record. In the 80s, The Clash asked, "Should I stay or should I go?" It's a question that also comes up every hurricane season. Stay put or evacuate. Whichever you decide, you'll need supplies, and the earlier, the better. John Nodar outlines the basics you'll want to have on hand.
Should I stay or should I go? Well, if you live near the Gulf or any flood-prone area, you'll probably want to go, and here are some essentials for a go bag. Water and some non-perishable food. These breakfast bars are a good, easy, portable choice. First aid kit, got that. Flashlight, there. And a battery-powered NOAA weather radio. Then you need enough batteries to keep everything going. A backup phone battery could be a lifeline, and you'll probably want a charger too. Moist towelettes, maybe hand sanitizer. You want your prescriptions in here as well. Important papers, and you want to seal those up in a Ziploc bag. Feminine hygiene supplies and your personal hygiene stuff. If you have a baby, clearly you're going to need baby supplies and a lot more than this. For pets, pet supplies, but also make sure the place you're going accepts pets. Most Red Cross shelters do not. Throw in some games and books for the kids. Gas up your car well in advance of a storm and have lots of cash on hand. So for folks who are going to stay, you need all the same stuff, just a lot more of it. I was without power for more than a week after Ivan and Katrina. There are folks who went 3 or more weeks without power after Frederick. Have duct tape and tarps available for emergency repairs and a wrench to turn off the utilities if you need to. You might want a whistle or an air horn to signal for help. All right, so this is a lot of stuff, and if you can't afford it all at once, just pick up a couple of items on every trip to the store. You don't want to wait until the last minute when everybody else wants these things too. John Nodar, News 5.
The idea of leaving your home due to an incoming storm can be daunting. There are some things you should think about when developing a solid evacuation plan. First, know if you live in an evacuation zone. This is mainly confined to coastal communities and flood zones. Check with your county EMA for that information. Be ready to get out. This includes having a go bag with clothes, toiletries, and other essentials. Bottom line, if law enforcement tells you to evacuate, leave. Plan several possible routes of evacuation, going east, north, or west, depending on the storm's track. Finally, have a plan for your pets. Find local pet shelters in your area that will house your furry friend during a storm. Now, let's hope this plan never has to get put into practice. As the old saying goes, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
The first element of hurricane preparation is to determine your risk. What you want to know is what sort of wind and water hazards could happen where you live, and then you start preparing to deal with those hazards. Hurricanes are not just a coastal problem. Zeta from a couple of years back will remind you of that. And know if you live in a flood-prone area. That can determine whether you stay or evacuate.
Local power companies have been working hard to get prepared for hurricane season. This is video from a few weeks ago when Florida Power and Light conducted its annual storm drill. Crews practice what to do after a storm hits and residents lose power.
Florida Power and Light says its annual storm drill week gets its employees ready for if and when disaster strikes.
We drill and we have an actual scenario and we practice what we would do if that were to happen so that we can think through every different situation and be prepared to respond whenever a storm comes our way.
Florida Power and Light says the key to restoring power is communication. That's where these mobile command units come in.
When we have a natural disaster, this is what we use to set up a mobile command center to allow us to be close to the damage and manage the crews and the restoration effort without having to set up, permanent structures.
There, FPL can dispatch crews to restore power. The company's mobile communication trailer keeps cell service working.
We would be able to stand this up at one of our staging sites, and everybody in the staging site would be able to have communications back to our command centers in South Florida.
Communicating with foremen and crews on site, what the problems they're finding, the material needs, all kinds of logistics challenges, whether it's communicating with local governments, cities, counties, getting roadways cleared.
Florida Power and Light says while they prepare for hurricane season, customers should too.
We're already seeing tropical weather, so make sure that you are ready. We want our customers to know that we will work around the clock to get your lights back on safely and as quickly as we can.
In Pensacola, Daniel Smithson, WKRG News 5.
No matter where you live on the Gulf Coast, the power companies make it easy to report an outage after a storm. Alabama Power customers can call 800-888-2726. Riviera Utilities has two numbers. In the Foley area, call 251-943-4999. And in the Daphne area, call 251-625-4999. And in Northwest Florida, Florida Power and Light customers can call 800-468-8243. Still ahead, pets and animals are like family, and you should have a plan for them.
If you have to evacuate or if you have to go to a shelter, you cannot take your animal with you to the shelter.
We will share some tips. And storm surge is a significant hazard from a hurricane.
The water came up to about right here this year, and we expected it to come probably right about here.
We will show you what makes the Gulf Coast more vulnerable to this threat than any other region.
watching the WKRG News 5 Hurricane Special.
When preparing for hurricane season, you not only need your kit ready to go, but you also can't forget about your animals, whether you have a cat, a dog, or even a horse. WKRG News 5's Caroline Carithers shows us what we need to do to prep our pets.
When a tropical system is on the way, your plans should already be in place, including your pet supplies.
The most important thing to pack for your pets are going to be food. The standard is about 3 to 5 days. I say get at least a week.
You will also need a week's worth of water for each pet, a secure crate, blankets, and necessary medications.
If you have to evacuate or if you have to go to a shelter, you cannot take your animal with you to the shelter. You may not want to evacuate with it. You need to find a veterinarian that will board that animal.
Now, the Mobile SPCA does not take pets during storms, so make sure you find a vet ahead of time.
Well, if you have bigger animals like cows, pigs, and horses that can't necessarily come inside during a storm, you may have to have a different plan in place.
But horses, yeah, they have natural survival instincts and they know when to get away from trauma that's coming.
Because horses and other livestock are accustomed to dealing with storms, unless you have a hurricane-rated barn that's built to withstand those kinds of winds, it's actually safer to keep your animals in the field, since the barn could collapse with the animals trapped inside.
If you'll watch horses, what they do is they'll actually, as a herd, they'll turn their butts to the storm to protect their head, protect their eyes, and they'll weather it.
If you stay during the storm with your animals, you'll need a week's worth of grain and water, along with some dry hay.
What you can do, as a horse owner is make sure all the debris is picked up. Make sure you've got really good fences and be prepared for fence repair even after the storm.
If you do decide to evacuate, you'll need to head out on your planned route earlier than you normally would, because if you get stuck in that evacuation traffic, your animals run the risk of dehydration. Caroline Carithers, WKRG News 5.
Hide from the wind and run from the water. It's a tried and true saying on the Gulf Coast during hurricane season. Colleen Peterson breaks down storm surge and how a storm named Sally made us all look at this threat in a new way.
Storm surge, the most destructive part of a hurricane.
It can cause devastating impacts, and it happens very quickly. You can go from almost no water to 20 to 30 feet of water in a couple of minutes.
It is the water level rise associated with a hurricane driven by low pressure and strong winds.
That does not include waves. You could have 2 to 3 foot waves on top of that, and it does not include any other outside factors.
Like rainfall, heavy rain can contribute to water level rise that storm surge does not consider. Hurricane Sally saw a significant water level rise on the bay side.
The water came up to about right here this year, and we expected it to come probably right about here. And so it was definitely a surprise walking in.
Sammy is a manager at Gulf Shore Seafood. Hurricane Sally to her was unforgettable.
Lost, pretty much everything in our kitchen, everything out here. You try to be as prepared as you can.
When it comes to water level rise, we're concerned with two things: storm surge and heavy rainfall. I'm about 10 yards away from Gulf Shore Seafood. This restaurant actually lies on the bay side, so they're not only concerned with storm surge at the immediate coast, but all of the runoff from the heavy rainfall that can cause water levels to new heights.
You might not think, hey, storm surge isn't that big of an issue, but it's almost like you're getting river flooding and storm surge on top of each other.
Which leaves residents and business owners that live right on the bay surprised.
Not at all, not a single bit. We expected maybe like a foot or 2 foot.
I was very shocked about, how much flood we had in here and how much damage it actually did. I think everyone around here didn't realize how bad it was actually going to be.
This season, make sure you consider not only the storm surge forecast, but the rainfall forecast as well. Reporting in Gulf Shore's meteorologist Colleen Peterson, WKRG News 5.
When a tropical storm or hurricane is heading your way, you need to do certain steps to protect your home from all the winds and the rain that come with tropical systems. So what's the first thing you need to do?
first, cover those windows, preferably with wood to protect them from any flying debris. Next, secure the flying debris. The outdoor items that include lawn furniture, trash cans, these become projectile objects in tropical systems. Be sure you move your vehicles to a safe location. That includes a carport, maybe a garage, some kind of covering to keep them safe. Trim those overgrown tree branches, make sure everything is nice and neat. And then lastly, lock all of your doors and windows to be sure everything is locked down and ready to go. These are just a couple of ways that you can protect your home as the tropical system approaches.
Once you've got all of your preparations complete prior to a storm's arrival, it's a good idea to check in with your neighbors. Your neighbors may need help in getting ready or evacuating. Keep in mind, elderly residents may need an extra hand. After a storm moves through, you should assess your situation and then check in with your neighbors. Remember, recovering after a hurricane is a community effort. We can all use a helping hand.
Still ahead, dealing with the aftermath of a hurricane is a daunting task.
All year long we're preparing for not just hurricanes but the tornadoes. We're susceptible to everything except volcano here, so we prepare for everything, but hurricane season is upon us.
We will have some information that may make recovery efforts a little easier.
We can see so many people that come to our area that just pop up in our neighborhoods, start running around passing out business cards. They get people to make down payments and then they're gone.
Watching the WKRG News 5 Hurricane Special.
Hurricanes can cause flooding, property damage, and also attract scammers. WKRG News 5's Grant Skinner shows us how local organizations can help you avoid these scammers and safely handle the aftermath of a hurricane.
After tropical systems move through the Gulf Coast, families and businesses are left to deal with the loss of life and property.
You can see how all 5 of our services.
Mike Brown with the South Alabama chapter of the American Red Cross says that they are ready to go no matter what the disaster.
We're always preparing. All year long we're preparing for not just hurricanes but the tornadoes. We're susceptible to everything except volcano here, so we were prepare for everything, but hurricane season is upon us.
The recovery process for people affected by hurricanes can vary depending on the strength of the hurricane and its impacts. It's a joint effort between the community and other disaster relief agencies to make sure that they are ready to help with recovery.
Every family is different and every community is different. For example, in Superstorm Sandy 10 years ago, we had communities that were up and running in 2 weeks. Power, everything was going, and we had other communities that were in Red Cross shelters for 9 months. So that's not just us preparing, it's the community preparing.
So the recovery process can be a lengthy one, but the Red Cross is ready to help.
There'll always be people that need long-term recovery. You know, when you've lost everything and you don't have insurance, it's a tough situation. So that's why, you know, a lot of folks stay in the Red Cross shelter for a month or 3 months. We don't like for that to happen, but we're ready to take care of them as long as it takes.
Now that we have an idea about the recovery process after hurricanes and the time that it takes, let's now look at how we can protect ourselves from scammers and keep ourselves safe after the hurricane passes.
Once you have hurricane damage, the first thing you should do is contact your insurance agent. Don't be fooled by the people that might show up at your house that want to do work on your house.
You and your family's safety should be your top concern, and then you need to find your documents.
Be safe. That's the first thing they want to do is be safe. Are they secure? Are their personal documents secure? Their personal documents, that would be things like your birth certificate, your social security number, life insurance policies, things like that.
After you've done these steps, you need to make an important call.
You need to be calling your insurance agent. See if you can get your cell phone charged as quick as you can. Just have a plan in place and make sure, if they're not already, make sure that you have turned off all your utilities.
And once it comes to fixing the damages, watch out for scammers who are a different kind of storm chaser.
We see so many people that come to our area that just pop up in our neighborhoods, start running around passing out business cards. They get people to make down payments and then they're gone. They're gone within a week or 2 days or 4 days, and I call those folks the bad storm chasers.
So, by careful planning ahead of time, you can avoid scams and do what is best to protect your loved ones and your home. As hurricane season approaches, it's important to get an insurance checkup. Dealing with insurance after a storm moves through can be a hassle. You'd be surprised how many homeowners are unaware of what their policies cover and what they don't cover. Now is the time to check. Schedule a meeting with your insurance agent to go over your policy. Know your coverage inside and out, what it covers and what it doesn't cover. You don't want any surprises should you have to file a claim. And always keep paper and electronic copies of your insurance documents with you. Taking these steps will make the cleanup process a bit easier.
Remember, WKRG News 5 and the First Alert Storm Team are your hurricane authority. We are always here before, during, and after the storm. Download the 2022 Hurricane Guide now at WKRG.com. You'll find tips to get you prepared, including evacuation routes, shelter information, and a home tracking map. Thank you so much for watching the WKRG Hurricane Special. Have a great night.